Gentlemen, let's talk about something that's rarely discussed openly, but it's at the very core of healthy relationships and emotional connection: touch. Now, when I say touch, I'm not only talking about intimacy. I'm talking about the way a handshake, a pat on the shoulder, a hug, or even the simple way you place your hand on someone's back can shape how others see you and how you see yourself. For men over 50, understanding the role of touch isn't just about relationships, it's about confidence, hormone balance, and even long-term health. Here's what most men don't realize. Human touch is medicine. When you engage in healthy, respectful touch, your brain releases oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone. This hormone reduces stress, lowers blood pressure, and strengthens feelings of trust and closeness. At the same time, cortisol, the stress hormone, drops. That means a simple hug or gentle touch can literally lower the strain on your heart and calm your nervous system. It's not magic, it's biology. And the older we get, the more powerful this becomes because our bodies crave balance and stability. Now, why is this so important for men after 50? As testosterone levels naturally decline, men often notice changes in mood, energy, and even confidence. Many men unconsciously withdraw, thinking that less contact or keeping to themselves is the safe option. But isolation only magnifies the problem. Healthy touch is one of the simplest, most natural ways to keep yourself engaged, confident, and emotionally connected, not only with others, but also with your own body. Think about the last time someone placed a reassuring hand on your shoulder. Instantly, your body felt calmer, maybe even stronger. That's not an accident. Nerve endings in your skin send signals to your brain telling it that you're safe, that you're connected, that you matter. This activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the system responsible for rest, recovery, and repair. It's the same system that helps your heart rate settle, your blood vessels relax, and your mind clear. For men over 50, whose bodies are often dealing with higher blood pressure, slower circulation, or the weight of stress, this calming effect is worth its weight in gold. Here's another layer most men don't think about. Healthy touch influences how others respond to you. Studies have shown that people who use gentle, appropriate touch in conversation are often seen as more confident, trustworthy, and warm. In other words, your presence changes. And the best part? It doesn't cost you a cent. No pills, no machines, just awareness of how powerful your hands can be when used with respect and care. But here's where many men miss the mark. Some confuse firmness with aggression, or they forget that gentle touch carries just as much weight, sometimes even more, than strength. Think about a handshake. A crushing grip may show force, but a steady, warm handshake communicates balance and confidence. Your touch is like your voice. It communicates far more than words alone. Now, let me make this clear. This isn't about trying to impress anyone or pretending to be someone you're not. This is about understanding how your own biology works and how the simple act of touch can either build you up or quietly weaken you if you neglect it. Remember, after 50, your body is more sensitive to stress, your hormones shift, and your emotional well-being becomes just as important as your physical strength. Touch ties all of these together. Let's also not forget the impact on relationships. Whether it's with a partner, a friend, or even family, touch communicates something words often fail to express: presence. It says, "I'm here, I'm with you." Men who understand this stay connected longer, avoid loneliness, and enjoy better mental health. And as a doctor, I can tell you, mental health and physical health are inseparable. If one falls, the other follows. So, Section 1 really boils down to this. Touch is not optional for men's health. It's one of the most natural tools you have to lower stress, boost hormones, strengthen relationships, and rebuild confidence. If you've been keeping distance, avoiding contact, or forgetting the power of this simple act, you've been leaving one of the best natural medicines on the table. Stay with me, because in the next part, we're going to get very practical. We'll dive into the common mistakes men make when it comes to touch, mistakes that turn something powerful and healing into something that actually weakens connection. And I'll tell you now, number 2 on that list is a trap many men fall into every single day without even realizing it. Now that we've laid the foundation for why touch matters, let's talk about the mistakes men often make with it. These mistakes aren't about bad intentions, they're usually about habits formed over time. Habits that don't line up with what actually builds trust, comfort, and confidence. The good news is, once you see them, you can fix them. The first mistake many men fall into is overthinking it. Somewhere along the way, a lot of men start second-guessing themselves. Should I reach out? Should I not? Will it be awkward? That hesitation creates tension. And here's the irony. When you hesitate too long, your touch, if it does happen, feels stiff or forced. The nervous system is sensitive. People can pick up on tension instantly. The cure? Keep it simple. A handshake, a pat on the shoulder, or even just steady eye contact paired with a light touch communicates ease and presence. Overthinking drains the natural flow, and that's exactly what you want to avoid. The second mistake, and this is the big one I mentioned earlier, is being too mechanical. Some men touch in a way that feels rehearsed or robotic, almost like checking off a box. And here's why it backfires. Human beings are wired to sense authenticity. Mechanical touch doesn't release oxytocin or reduce cortisol in the same way because it lacks warmth. Think of it this way. If someone gives you a handshake without making eye contact, or a hug where their body stays rigid, your body feels it right away. It's like your brain says, something's missing here. Authentic touch requires presence. You can't fake being present, and you don't need to. Just be there in the moment, steady and grounded. The third mistake is confusing strength with connection. Men often believe that a stronger grip, a firmer pat, or holding on longer somehow communicates confidence. In reality, it can send the opposite message. Too much force makes others feel guarded instead of calm. Here's the biology. When touch is too strong, it activates the sympathetic nervous system, the fight-or-flight response. That means heart rate goes up, stress hormones rise, and instead of connection, there's resistance. Gentle, steady pressure activates the parasympathetic system, the one that relaxes, heals, and bonds. So, yes, sometimes lighter is stronger. Another common mistake is neglecting consistency. Many men might be warm one day and distant the next. This inconsistency can confuse relationships and weaken trust. The body thrives on rhythm. Just like sleep, exercise, and diet, consistent healthy touch creates stability. When you're consistent, whether it's with a handshake, a hug, or just a pat on the back, you send a signal of reliability. That reliability is gold, especially as we get older. People remember consistency more than grand gestures. Now let's bring in the hormonal side for a moment. Testosterone, which declines naturally with age, doesn't only influence muscles or energy, it also plays a role in confidence, mood, and how you engage with others. When testosterone is lower, many men feel more withdrawn. But when you add positive, healthy touch into your daily rhythm, oxytocin levels rise, and this balances mood swings caused by declining testosterone. Your body becomes more resilient to stress, and your mind stays clearer. That means your relationships benefit, and so does your health. One more mistake that often goes unnoticed is forgetting your own state of mind. Touch doesn't exist in a vacuum. It carries your emotional state. If you're distracted, angry, or drained, your touch communicates that. Think about it. A rushed handshake feels different than one that's steady and mindful. This is why self-care matters. When you take care of your sleep, your breathing, your stress levels, your touch carries calmness instead of tension. This isn't about perfection. It's about being aware that your own energy is contagious. So, what can you do to fix these mistakes? 1. Simplify your approach. Don't overthink. Be steady and natural. 2. Stay present. When you touch, even if it's brief, give it your full attention. 3. Balance your strength. Gentle, steady pressure builds more trust than force. 4. Be consistent. Small, reliable actions matter more than big one-time efforts. 5. Mind your state. Calm yourself first, then extend that calm through touch. Let me put it this way. Touch is like a mirror. It reflects your internal state back into the world. When you're grounded, confident, and calm, your touch communicates that. When you're anxious or disconnected, people feel it instantly. Now I want you to picture this. You walk into a room, shake someone's hand with warmth and steadiness, look them in the eye, and they feel calm around you. That small interaction shapes how they'll remember you. Not because of what you said, not because of what you wore, but because of how they felt in your presence. That's the power you already have in your hands. You just have to use it wisely. And let me give you a little motivation here. Men who understand this not only strengthen their relationships, they also protect their health. Lower stress, better heart function, sharper memory, and more balanced hormones. Those are the rewards of getting touch right. That's why I say this isn't optional. For men over 50, it's essential. We've talked about the mistakes and how to fix them, but in section 3, we're going to take it further. I'll give you practical, everyday ways to use touch to build deeper connection, reduce stress, and boost your confidence. And I'll tell you right now, number 3 in that list is something most men overlook, but it can completely change how others experience you. Now that we've uncovered the mistakes and how to correct them, let's get practical. Because here's the truth. Knowledge without action won't change your life. What matters is how you put this into practice, day by day, in ways that fit naturally into your routine. And I'm going to share 5 practical approaches you can start using right away. Stay with me, because number 3 is the one most men skip, but it makes all the difference. First, start with the simple daily touches. A handshake, a pat on the back, even a gentle tap on the arm during conversation. These may feel small, but they carry huge weight. When you add consistency, you're sending a clear signal. I see you and I respect you. Your nervous system and theirs respond with oxytocin, the bonding hormone. And guess what? Oxytocin lowers stress hormones like cortisol, which helps your heart, your memory, and even your sleep. That's why these little moments are not small at all. Second, practice timing. Good touch is about rhythm. If you go too fast, it feels rushed. If you hold too long, it feels forced. The sweet spot is somewhere in the middle, steady, calm, and respectful. Think of it like breathing. When your breath is slow and steady, people around you feel calmer too. In fact, research shows that when men use steady, appropriate touch, their heart rate variability improves, a sign of resilience and health. So the next time you reach out, pair your touch with a deep, calm breath. You'll be surprised how much difference it makes. Third, don't forget your environment. This is the one most men miss. Where you are and how you set the tone matters. A loud, tense, or chaotic environment can make touch feel intrusive instead of supportive. But when the environment feels safe, whether it's a calm living room, a quiet walk, or even just a relaxed moment at the end of the day, your touch lands in a deeper way. The body relaxes faster when the surroundings support safety. That's why I tell men, prepare the setting before the gesture. It multiplies the impact. Fourth, combine touch with words. Here's the thing. Touch on its own is powerful, but when you pair it with words, you create alignment between body and mind. A steady handshake with, "I'm glad to see you." A pat on the shoulder with, "Well done." A gentle touch on the arm with, "I understand." These pairings activate both the emotional and rational parts of the brain, making the moment stick. And as we get older, memory cues become even more important. Fifth, use touch for self-connection too. This may sound unusual, but stay with me. Many men overlook how self-touch, like rubbing your hands together, massaging your temples, or even resting your hand over your chest while breathing deeply, can calm your own nervous system. When you do this, you regulate your mood, your stress, and your energy. And when you regulate yourself first, every interaction that follows carries more steadiness. Remember what I said earlier? Touch is a mirror. If you're grounded, it shows. Now, let's zoom out. Why does this matter so much for men over 50? Because this stage of life often brings new challenges. Changes in testosterone, slower recovery from stress, and sometimes a shrinking circle of close relationships. But here's the truth. Positive touch, practiced with awareness, is one of the simplest, cheapest, and most effective ways to maintain connection, boost your hormones, and protect your mental health. Studies even suggest that men who stay physically connected with their community have lower risks of depression, memory decline, and cardiovascular disease. That's not a luxury, that's survival. But I want you to hear this clearly. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being intentional. If you've been inconsistent in the past, that's fine. Start fresh. If you've been too mechanical, adjust today. If you've been holding back out of fear, take one small step forward. Progress here doesn't require dramatic change. It requires steady practice. And let me leave you with one powerful truth. People rarely remember every word you say. They rarely remember every detail of what you do. But they always remember how you made them feel. Touch, when used with respect and care, is one of the strongest ways to leave a positive memory behind. So let's recap the big takeaways. 1. Touch isn't just physical. It shapes hormones, mood, and connection. 2. Avoid the big mistakes: overthinking, being mechanical, forcing strength, neglecting consistency, or ignoring your own state. 3. Practice the 5 approaches: daily touches, proper timing, safe environment, pairing with words, and self-connection. 4. Remember, this is not optional. It's vital for your health, your relationships, and your confidence after 50. If you've stayed with me until now, you already know this. The power to transform how people experience you is literally in your hands. Use it wisely, and you'll see the rewards in your health, your relationships, and your sense of purpose. And before you go, do me a favor. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button, subscribe for more advice on men's health, and share this with a friend who could use this knowledge. You never know whose life you might change just by passing it along.